What's going on, everybody? We are here to catch up with the last two episodes of the franchise, a series that we started that was on Max. Let's see what everybody thought. Hey guys, we just got through watching the last two episode of the franchise on Max. Let's go down the line. Let's see, last two episodes, last two things to really watch and see if they could recover it. We was kind of down on the episode, the last couple of reviews that we've done. Let's see if they could have brought us up, you know what I'm saying, and say the show like ended on a good note. We'll find out. Adelia, what'd you think?
This wasn't funny again. Like, the whole premise of episode 7 is them blowing up the wrong bridge in Armenia, and it's some like cultural landmark thing that they blow up, and like that's not funny at all. And
Well, I would say they could make it funny by like how they do it, but like, yeah, I agree with you. It just wasn't funny how they did it.
yeah, it just was
But
not good. And then the whole last episode was about them thinking the movie was pulled off the schedule, and they end up being the summer tent pole, and this drama between Eric and Daniel about Daniel trying to save the movie and Eric breaking Eric's trust, and Eric fires him, and then it ends on a cliffhanger, I guess, on whether Daniel's going to come back to the movie or not. And I just don't see this show getting a second season, so that just is an ending that makes no sense to me. So yeah, I didn't really enjoy these episodes at all.
yeah, Brandy. I mean,
So
you're
I'm
smiling at least.
no, I'm smiling because Adelia just did a Brandi breakdown.
I did, I guess.
She did a quick one though. She did a quick one. She just went over like the
But
plot.
she did well. The show's not very long, so that was a Brandi
She
breakdown.
didn't do
It
like the
wasn't.
Brandy breakdown of like, you know, this one character drops a crumb and like there was a shot and then
There was a shot where somebody dropped a head and smashed it. I mean, it was that the last
Yeah.
episode. That was the last episode. But no, like Adelia said, I wasn't laughing a lot, and some of it I was, but not, And then Dax kept harping on she's going to jail, and it just like was going over and over, and I'm like, okay, I'm just sick of this now. It's just getting repetitive and annoying and a little.
Listen, the person that laughed the most ain't with us on this review because Matt, I would say, laughed more than anybody. Not that he laughed a huge amount, but I'd say he laughed probably 4 or 5 times during it, and there was a giggle from probably like.
Well, I didn't laugh at it. They're like, "Oh, the girl found the bat, and she's coming." They blew up the wrong thing, and they're like, "Oh crap! Did we blow the girl up?" And they're like, "Oh no, there she is!" And I was like, laughed a little bit, but like, no, she's alive. But yeah, no, it wasn't. It was serious. It was not. This is supposed to be a comedy, right? Like,
yeah, they missed the tone on this. Like a couple of things I'll say is like when I pull up my Max app to like actually watch the show, I know there's not going to be a season 2, and the reason why I know that is I had to search. Like, this is a brand new show that's coming out. They just released the last couple of episodes. That should be one of the front page things. If they were proud of it, it'd be on the front page like The Penguin was, or any of these other big time shows that they put on. It'd be like scrolling by the front page. You just had to click on it. Don't even really have to search. I had to search. Like, if you look at the list or whatever.
Yeah, I did. I was looking for it. I'm like, oh, what? And then it came out like previously I was watching, like, would you like to watch the next episode? And I was like, oh, there it is. Like, I was looking on it in the scroll screen, and I was like, oh, it's not there. Like,
yeah, it's not there for a reason.
Yeah, but like I was gonna say, the stuff with the girl and the background actor dude, that was awkward and like not funny. And
Steph and the Mollusk Man.
Yes, that was
not funny at all.
No, it wasn't. And he was like, "Oh, I thought we were on the same page." And she's like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna vice grip your balls," something like that. And I was like, "Oh, like you're like." She's like, "I'm in love with you. I love you." And I'm like, "Ooh, stage 5 clinger." That was a little awkward.
Yeah, I'm gonna say in these last couple of episodes, the thing that's weird to me was
they had potential until they both made them both married.
Right. Well, the thing that you can make something like that funny, I guess, in a certain way, but the way they shot it and did it is, I just want to say a bunch of missed potential, basically, because there's things blowing up the wrong bridge. Set it up. You can do things with it.
Did Eric direct the whole show? Sorry.
But no, like, you can do things with it to like make it funny, and how you do it to make it funny.
Mm-hmm.
You can even make like goofy, like sexual, like comedy or something like that, right? And as long as you do it the correct way, you can make it funny and goofy and stuff like that. But like, I'm sitting there looking at both. So her and what was her name? Like Anita or whatever, like the one that
the producer lady.
Yeah, the producer lady.
Anita.
Like, yeah. In these last couple of episodes, like they both did things that if they were guys and not women in the show, like they would be being called out for having like sexual harassment. Like, because Home Dude comes in with his injured hand and he's obviously saying no the whole time, like, and being all like kind of weirded out because of how she's starting to act with him all of a sudden. And that just kind of came out of nowhere. And she starts like sucking his finger and everything else. They tried to make it funny because he held a bat. But if there was a guy that was doing that to a lady, that would be like big time frowned upon. They would be called out about it. I almost think they should be called out about it with the way they did it, because to me it doesn't matter male or female. You act like that, that's definite, like, just not good. And because it's not funny, that's the problem, right? Like, so you could possibly do some awkward situations with people and do it in a way that doesn't look like that and still can come across funny. But it makes it even worse when it's not even done in a funny manner. It was almost like I was just sitting back going like, oh man, like if I did that to a lady, I'd feel uncomfortable with myself, like, and I'd probably be called out for it and in trouble for it, like when I'm watching it. And yeah, and it's because it wasn't funny, right? Like, it just, like what Brandi just said, it was cringe. It was like, whoa, like I said, if there would have been a dude playing those two parts in both occasions, I think this show would have been canceled. Like, literally, I think people would have called them out a lot more than what they have. I just don't think that was good at all and shouldn't have been in the show if they can't change it around.
It was really, the first thing she was saying was like, oh, we slept with each other. We didn't sleep with condoms. We didn't have condoms. They were right there, but we didn't use them. And I was like, it's just, the stuff was just cringy to me. It wasn't funny. Yeah. It was just very cringe. And I was like, ooh. And they're like, oh, I could be pregnant. Oh, and I'm like,
okay. No. Yeah. But like, the only thing that was kind of like, okay, I would say, is my favorite character this whole time was the a Dan guy. I think I got his name right. But, you know, the guy who's like overall seeing, like, started seeing things. It's like, you get that moment he's going to go see his kid and stuff, and then like Home Dude knocks on his window. Why not just say that Home Dude wants you to be the director?
Yeah,
and like at least
I
give
thought
you
that
something
was a
good
really dumb ending.
Yeah, it was really dumb because, like I said, man, unfortunately, I don't think you're going to get to see him like be the director like in the next season. If this would have been done really well, that's
like I said, did Eric direct the series?
I don't.
Sorry, bad joke.
But no, it's just like, man, I guess maybe you're thinking, oh, we're definitely going to get a season 2. I guess you feel good about it, but it's like, man, I don't know. Like to me, it would have been way better if they would have had this as a serious, like Max doesn't do a lot of like comedies.
I think the only thing I laughed at was the sweater dresses.
Yeah, but like
that Adam wore. That was the only thing I laughed. I'm like, yeah, that was the sweater dress.
Max can do comedies and do comedies well. They've done them in the past, you know, some comedies that people really liked or whatever. But this was just a big, huge like miss. When that, like to me, it would have been way better if they would have took kind of like what they did in the show when at the very end of it, right? They're trying to change the tone of the film they're doing in the show. And that should have been what they did in this. They should have like did a couple of episodes and said, you know what, man, we're not really hitting. I don't think we're hitting the comedy very well. Let's change this into like a drama about things that could happen, right? In behind the scenes of trying to make like a franchise movie or whatever. And a lot of those things that they played with could have been done. You could have took some of the silliness out of it. You still could have had a joke here and there, but you could have made it a more serious, like a more of a drama. And then you're kind of rooting for Dan to get like his shot and everything else. And that could have been like a big moment or something that you could have played with in the show. You could have did certain things like that and it would have been better. Right. Like, I just don't, what they did was just kind of a huge like swing and a miss there, because there's always like things that make you kind of feel sad in moments in the show. And it's supposed to be funny, but then you can do some of the sad moments, like heartfelt moments. If your rest of the show was funny, right, it would work because you would be laughing. And then like, there would be a couple of moments you're like, oh, they're playing with my heart a little bit, even though it's comedy, kind of like The Office. It's goofy comedy, but then you have a serious like love relationship that's happening kind of in the background, and it's growing and growing and growing and stuff like that. You could have kind of did something like that, but man, it's just, yeah, when you're not laughing, when nothing's funny, it's just like, man, it's not.
The only time I heard Adelia laugh was at the very end when he was doing phases in the stage and jumping around. Yeah. It's the only time I heard Adelia laugh.
I'm going to be honest with you. I laughed more at the post-credit stuff they did that was just like a couple of minutes at the very end of each episode than I did at almost any of the things that was actually in the episodes.
Yeah, like the end of episode 8, that one of Pat at Comic-Con that they show a bit of in the show, but they showed the full clip on during the credits. That was funnier than anything else in that whole episode.
That's why I said that's the only thing you laughed at was that.
Yeah.
The only thing I heard you laugh at. And I was on mute, so you guys didn't hear me. So.
But I am a big like Mac show fan overall. I think they do fabulous jobs on a lot of the things they did, like with Penguin that we did recently. And if you haven't watched it, we got breakdowns of all the episodes for the Penguin. Everybody was excited for that. It did really well. And man, it's just you can't get them all. This is one of those things to where you just, everything's not going to be correct. Everything's not going to flow right. You're going to have an issue. And this is just one of those shows that they missed on completely. But it's a little bit different feeling than some other places because most of the stuff they do is really good, like top notch or really well done. So like, yeah, you're going to mess up and have like a bad show here and there or a bad movie or something like that. So, you know, it's Max. So I'm going to, like, if this was a couple of other subscription services and I see some crap like this, I might be unsubscribing to that shit. Okay. But Max has still got really good stuff on it. So I'm not going to do that to Max. And I've got things that they got this looking forward to because we do have the Dune show that just came out. We might start doing a post credits for it. I'm going to get together with a couple of people this week sometime to see if anybody's excited about watching the new Dune show that they got and all that good stuff. But like looking into the future, but there's just not a lot. Like I know I'm talking about a couple of different things here, but it's just not a lot to talk about with the show. Unfortunately,
no, there's not.
Like because some things I didn't think was like super terrible, but it was kind of mundane.
I give this whole series a 4. It wasn't.
Yeah, it's like
it's about where I'm at too.
Yeah, it's one of those things to where it's like I just don't care, and that's the worst. If I was watching something and I had passion into it, and I'm like arguing about certain things or just mad about certain things, at least I got passion, right? At least I got some feelings for it. This is just like, man.
See, I wanted to love this because I love Billy Magnuson, but he couldn't save it.
And I didn't think we watched the first 2 episodes, and that's why we ended up doing this whole thing. Adelia watched it with one of her friends, and she had a good time watching it with Drew and stuff like that. And then, you know, we watched the first couple episodes, and I didn't think it was like super great. I was still probably at like a 6, but I was like at that 6 range where I was like, well, I'm enjoying it, right? Because like 5 is where I don't like it or hate it. Don't know what I think really. Anything below that, I don't like. anything above that I like, but it's to different levels. I was at probably like a 6 after the first couple episodes. I thought there was potential in the thing, but then it just kept going. It started going downhill, and it just kept going downhill the entire time after that. I mean, I don't even know what I'd give it for a score, to be honest with you, just because of the fact that, like I said, just it got to where I didn't care. Like, I'm picking when I watch a show, like when I watch a show that I like or watch a movie that I like, I'm not grabbing my phone. And I think it's crappy when I'm with people that will do stuff like that when there's something good on. I'm like, man, what the hell are you doing? Put your phone away. I'm over here watching these last like 4 episodes, maybe even 5 episodes. And like, I'm pretty much at the thing where I really don't care. I'm listening. I'm looking at my phone, scrolling through a couple things, seeing if I missed anything, all that kind of good stuff. And I don't do that normally.
Yeah.
So
I had a hard time concentrating on this show because it just is boring for the most part, which is never a good sign if you're a comedy. If you're bored watching a comedy, then it's not good.
We have a comedy that we like.
Yeah, we do. Like comparing the levels of humor, I know it's an entirely different show, but the level of humor in Happy's Place compared to this is like night and day.
So, no, and there's a lot more interest in that too, because I mean, y'all been doing y'all's little thing for that show and getting pretty decent views on the channel, like better than a lot of our other stuff. So I mean, that showcases you there's interest out there, and people's like looking up and like, hey, I wonder what other people think about this show and stuff like that. I don't see none of this happening for this show. I mean,
no.
If it wasn't for the fact that like we feel like we should finish things that we start, I'd have told Adelia, hey, Adelia sent me a text, hey, you're going to be with us for the franchise tonight. And I like actually forgot about it, to be honest with you, because it's not in the forefront. You know, I had work today, so I wasn't even thinking about that. And my college basketball team was playing, so that was the bottom of my mind. Adelia asked, I'm like, yeah, but I wasn't excited about it. I was just like, yeah, we need to go ahead and finish.
He was excited because I was here. That's why he was excited.
Yeah, that'd be the only reason, right? To be honest with you. Yeah, it's just a big letdown because I do think that a kind of show like this could be funny. And if it's done the right way, with the right actors, with the right writing and everything else, you could have had fun with. This is what happens when people are trying to make these, because there's sometimes ridiculous that happens in the world, like with making some of these movies, especially like in these like big, huge blockbuster world.
Which I did. Okay, I did chuckle at one little part too when the other show had all the writers coming in and it was like, there's 100 writers. And I was like, snap.
that was excessive.
But it was funny. I laughed. I laughed.
Another thing that I didn't find very funny about these episodes is the constant torturing of the VFX guy, because VFX artists are overworked on these movies all the time to get them done in deadlines. And it's not just superhero movies. They did with the Sonic the Hedgehog movie when they put out that trailer and no one liked the design of Sonic, and they completely redid all of the movie and with Sonic in a different design and didn't change the release date, which was only a few months down the line. Like, VFX artists are overworked and underpaid for what they do. And I didn't like the fact that they just kept like torturing that guy to the point where he lost his mind in episode 8.
And stabbed his leg with a pen.
Stabbed his leg with a pen. Like, that's not funny to me.
Yeah, and that's the problem. Because like I said, almost everything that y'all brought up, I could see being like, you can justify that a little bit by saying that you're trying to point out how these guys are misused. But if you do it in a funny way, it's better received. But like you said, it's supposed to be in a comedy, and we see a guy lose his mind and then stab himself. Like, that's not funny.
But they were like overdoing it, overdoing it, just like Dax overdoing that she was going to go to jail and the bucket, and they make her go to the bathroom in a bucket, and it was like overused. Yes, it's funny if you just keep it at a minimum, but you keep pushing it, and that's what they kept pushing that too, as we seen the guy overworked, and then it didn't last just that one episode. No, it lasted the last two episodes. And then this guy, and you see him, and he's like a bloodshot eyes, and he's like, I just want to break, and he's like on the verge of crying. You know, like I can't do this. And it just
like I said, there's ways to do that and make it funny, and you can still get your message across that these guys are like overworked and stuff. So you're trying to like make it funny, but you're also trying to show it. But it's like they didn't make it funny. That's the problem.
It was too over.
Like you feel bad about the guy. There's nothing to laugh at. There's nothing funny going on while it's happening. He's just literally losing his mind, and like and it just wasn't funny in how it's done. That's the biggest key. Is like there's a lot of things in here that you could have did, and it'd be funny as hell, but you have to do it in a certain way. You have to find how to make those kind of things funny, and they wasn't making them funny. It's like you were saying with the guy who was having to wear like the almost turtle looking suit and the lady, it's like it wasn't funny. So then it becomes bad because now it's like, girl, what the hell?
Yeah.
Like that's a lot. If that were to happen, that's a lawsuit. You know what I'm saying? Like that's, I don't know, man. That's just kind of, it made it just almost nasty. Like it was just like, none of these characters are kind of redeemable, except for like Dan, maybe, right? You can say Dan, even though he may have been lying and stuff, but then like you almost make him bad because they're trying to drown a freaking bat that's still alive with some big rocks and stuff. It's like, okay, but most of the show, Dan was, I guess, like the guy that you could kind of like get behind because like his assistant that was trying to move up and possibly take his job, at some point, like maybe on another movie or something, getting experience. Like in one of the, I can't remember if it was the 7th or 8th episode, she kind of gets a little more control because Dan guy's becoming more of the director. And her first thought is, I'm going to go yell at these guys because they're not working hard.
Yeah.
And it's not done in a funny way. Like, so it just makes her look like an asshole.
Yeah, the lighting people.
Yeah, I'm gonna go yell at the lighting people because they're lazy bums, and she's like going up there the first thing to like yell at them. It's like, who am I supposed to like in this? And we're, like I said, we're watching a comedy, and there's like none of these things or none of these people really that you could like. Because the old guy that I thought was one of the funniest ones, the old actor, the guy who was playing like the villain or whatnot in the actual movie.
Yeah, Richard E. Grant.
Yeah, I thought he had some moments that were kind of funny and goofy and like kind of fit, and like I could see where they were going with him sometimes. But even he did some crap that was just like, bro, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah. I will say I thought it was well acted. I thought they all acted the parts that they were given to play really well, but what they were given was not very good.
Yeah.
I'll say this is ironic because like
what they were given exactly.
Yeah, it's ironic really because the show's about this director that sucks. Basically. The guy sucks. He doesn't have good creative vision. He's the one kind of almost tanking the movie with the decisions he's making and everything.
That's why I said, did Eric direct the series?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a pretty good point.
Twist. See, that would have been a great plot twist. Eric directed the series.
Yeah, because like 100%. Well, now I get what you were saying earlier. I was like, who the hell's Eric? But now I'm thinking about that's the guy that was the actual director of the movie in the show.
Which he
because that's the ironic part, right? Is like the director. I blame this on director and writers. This is one of those times. Sometimes you can say, oh, the actors are definitely mailing this in. This should be funny, but the actors and actresses suck or whatever. But in this case, like, it's to me, the director and the writer of this show, I don't know what the hell they were thinking. And the people that were around them, like, what were you guys thinking? Like, could you not step in and say, bro, this sucks? Like,
maybe they had the same relationship as the show.
That would be my biggest fear, is like me being a director and I try to direct something like this, and I'm in the cutting room trying to like, edit and everything else in the editing room, trying to like see what everything's looking like and all that. And I see this kind of stuff in front of me. Like, I would just be so bummed, because at that point you really can't do a whole lot. They're not going to let you go and reshoot the whole show. I would just be like, man, This literally might be my last job. Like, it's not good. It's not going good. And it's not going to be good. So, because I just don't see how you could watch this and think, oh man, this is going to knock them off their seats. Like, unless you were just lying to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's like, I said, could have been better if it was a more serious tone. I could see like drama. Like, so even the cringe thing we were just talking about with that lady and the guy wearing the turtle suit. If it was a drama, you could have had that in the show, but then like in a drama, you could have been like, oh yeah, this is cringe, but it's part of the drama. And like, maybe you have like an overlying story about like, she gets in trouble or something like that, or, you know, just whatever it is. But at least it's in a drama. It would have fit better because you would have been like, okay, they're trying to discuss, you know, what happens maybe behind the scenes on some of these projects where people do act weird or funny or something like that, right? And you obviously wouldn't have did it exactly like they did it in the show, but I'm saying you could have took a story that could have been part of the story arc, is like, nah, this stuff doesn't need to happen kind of thing, and you're having that in the show to kind of portray it in a certain way if it was more serious. But with it being in a comedy, it's just made it even weird. I was just like, made it weirder. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. That's not. I'm literally trying to think of like.
We've now gone longer than an episode.
Yeah, like.
Yeah. I don't think there's much else to say.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I don't. I really don't. That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to think of like, because I don't like to be all 100% like negative. You know, like when we've done a show that I haven't liked, I always try to point out there's some good spots, right?
Yeah, the first couple of episodes.
Yeah. I mean, and I'll say
first couple episodes of this series were directed by Sam Mendes, and then somebody else took over. And I think it really shows the difference between like a director who has a lot of experience, like Sam Mendes, directing something like this, and then somebody who maybe doesn't.
Yeah, and I think like maybe if this show was in a trajectory, like it was super great those first 2 episodes, like let's say we were over here laughing our asses off, it was 9.5 10s, we were giving out score wise, and then you give it off to somebody the last part of the show and it kind of went down a little bit, but we're still sitting at like a 6 or a 7, we're probably like, damn man, this show could be all right. But like the problem is even with the Mendez directing it and overseeing the first 2 episodes was okay. You know, like I liked it, but I wasn't loving it. And then you give it to somebody and you go even further down from that. Like, it's like, oh, man, it becomes something terrible. So,
yeah.
But yeah. Any last words?
I'm never watching this again.
Do not recommend.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would not recommend. It's just one of those things, man. I watch things.
Billy, I love you. Like Billy, you'll never see this, but I love you.
You're talking about the guy that was like the hero in the movie, right?
That's Adam.
Yeah, Adam. I thought he also did pretty well, but I'm kind of like Adelia. I don't think the actors and stuff in this did a terrible job, and that's what's sad. It's because I think they did what they could with what they were given. They just wasn't given a lot. Because with comedy, more than anything, like a drama or something, good actors can make something more dramatic. They can like do the thing and sell, even if it maybe not the perfect writing. You can still sell that a little bit. But in comedy, it's hard. It's hard. Like your writer is so much more important in a comedy than it is like in some of your other styles. Writing is important across the board, no matter what you're watching, but definitely in a comedy, writing is like, you got to have, like Ryan Reynolds could have made something more, funny and involved in a thing like this because he's so good at improv. So he could have just probably improvised his way and like almost didn't do anything the writer said, but came up with something to do that was funny. But like, if you don't have those type of people, it's like, oh man, like Vince Vaughn back in the day, whenever he was doing pretty good out there, just doing his basic improvisations, doing the thing. But with that being said, man, I guess we out. This one's over, guys. Thank God. This is one of those, I'm glad we're not getting 10 or 12 episodes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man, I don't like. It is what it is. But till next time, guys, please like, subscribe, grab yourself a cup of coffee, and what I mean is sign up for the coffee account. I even got to do it myself. So we can do that.
ko-fi.com/LGR_network.
Now, is that how we're supposed to say it? Like coffee?
I mean,
Or is it
their
Coke?
whole thing is their little badges you can put on places say "Buy me a coffee." So I'm guessing it's coffee.
That's right. So I'm actually unintentionally making a correct joke.
Yeah.
When I say like, go buy yourself a cup of coffee. Get up in here, man. You can join us on shows that we will be watching that people will like better. Promise, it's not all going to be like the doom and gloom.
We're starting Skeleton Crew next week.
Yeah, Skeleton Crew, and then I also, like I was saying, I did mention it. The new Dune show is on Max now. The first episode just came out. I'm going to see like who's interested in that. We may also do that because a lot of people like the Dune franchise, so it might be interesting that people want to watch it. But
Justin couples therapy.
Yeah, we got a new one coming out. We're gonna.
Me and Adelia watch Happy's Place.
We just did Gremlins. Gremlins for couples therapy. One of my favorite movies. What?
We got to film that.
Film the thing. It'll come out in the next couple of days. All right, guys. With that being said, we out of here. Till next time. Peace.
Billy, I love you.
Yep. See you.